Welcome back into Believe in the Wolfpack, the Final Four edition. Myself, Luke Nichols, is going to be going over some game plans, some more, maybe a bit more advanced and extensive game plans for the men's team than the women's team. And I'm not downplaying the women's team by any means. I just have a better idea of how the men's team can beat Purdue than I do an idea of how the women's team can beat South Carolina, because South Carolina has not lost this year. No one's really laid out the game plan for us. If they even had one loss, I can go back and pinpoint like, oh look, they lost to I don't know, they lost to Alabama right here. We just gotta, stop her and then stop her and then don't let this happen. Blah 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 blah. No, they haven't lost this year, and a lot of their games really haven't been that close. They almost lost to Tennessee, and then, well, actually, okay, there's the first thing I can say. If it's a close game at the end and you're down by 2 points or you're down at all, don't leave somebody open at the top of the 3-point line. I I feel like that should be easier said than done, but the Tennessee Lady Volunteers was it Cardoso that left wide open? It may have been, but just wide open at the top of the 3-point line, drilled a three or banked in a three to win the game, keeping the undefeated season alive. And I think it was in the SEC tournament as well. So that's on one thing. But like I said, we'll get into the women's game with in their matchup with South Carolina later. But for right now, I would love to celebrate. I would love to keep saying, "Oh, we made the Final Four. We made the Final Four. Let's go. That's great. Just doing a good job, guys. Where to go?" No, it's business. Strictly business. Job's not done. Job's not finished. Job's not finished. Still got 2 more games to win. Hey, it's cool we made the Final Four. Let's win one game and then win another game. And next thing you know, you're not just in the Final Four, you win the whole thing. It ain't over till it's over. But let's talk about how to stop or contain Zach Edey, the player of the year, Naismith College Basketball Player of the Year, whatever the official title is. Saw that coming a mile away. Saw that coming from last year when he won it. So, like, whatever. But Purdue, they only have 4 losses on the year. Their latest loss was in the Big Ten conference tournament to Wisconsin. Wisconsin beat them in overtime by, I think, 2 points. And one of their losses to Northwestern. Northwestern outscored them 92-88 for a win, and Edey still had 30-some points. I was looking at it thinking, oh, okay, all we got to do is, just get into a very up-tempo game and just outscore them that way. I don't think that's the game plan. I don't think that's the correct game plan for this NC State team to try to beat Purdue. Which, just to clarify, the game this Saturday at 6:09 p.m. Eastern Time. NC State Purdue. What channel? I think it's on. Oh, it's on TBS. Why is it on TBS? Why is it not just CBS? Weird. But Purdue's 8.5-point favorites. Settle down there, Vegas. But this, I don't know why they always do the weird start times. Like, why has it got to be 6:09 and not just 6:10 or like 6:05 or 6, whatever. But back to my point, I don't think the game plan should be, getting this up tempo. You got to answer every bucket with a three. You got to answer every single time. You got to outscore them. You got to outpace them. You got to outrun them. No, I don't think that's the game plan. I think you do have to stick with, our kind of tempo, our kind of pace of play, and just play good defense, play strong defense, tight defense. I'm looking at this game right here where Ohio State beat Purdue 73-69 back in, when was this? February, I think. But this is right after Ohio State fired their head coach and the interim head coach stepped up and beat Purdue in the first game after firing the old head coach. And in this game, like I said, Purdue 69 points, didn't even get to 70. One of the best offenses in the country. I mean, they just run everything through Edey and even Braden Smith. Did I get his first name right? Yeah, Braden Smith. Yeah, I don't know why I wanted to say Bradley. I was like, whatever. But Braden Smith and Zach Edey are kind of their main guys. Yeah, they got Jones and Kaufman, but like it's mostly Braden Smith and Zach Edey, at least in my mind. And in this game, Zach Edey went 7 for 11 from the field, pretty good. 22 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 blocks. That's a solid game. That's a good game for Edey, but that's not a monster game for him. He had, what, 41 points against Tennessee? He gets 41 points against us. We're cooked. It's done. But if we can keep him to, he's going to get a double-double because he's 7'10", or I think he's actually 7'4". But he's going to get a double-double. He's going to wind up with 20 points. He's going to get at least 10 rebounds, and I'm prepared for that. Mo Diarra is a great defender. DJ Barnes is a big body dude who I can hope can kind of push him away from the basket. Ben Middlebrooks is very physical down low. I'm hoping he can kind of get to him a bit, maybe get him. I mean, he is a good free throw shooter too. He went 8 for 8 this game. But I'm hoping they can, contain him a bit. But I'm expecting him to get 20 and 10 at least. You kind of have to in this. But what I don't want to see is him get 6 offensive rebounds like he did in this game. That's just second chance points for them. We have to be just so effective on the glass. If he's going to score, it's going to be tough buckets. But we can't allow him to get these easy rebounds. We got to box out. Because if you box out, if you get a good enough box out to where he reaches over you, the official could call that an over the back call. And now I know, am I going to be annoyed with the officiating? It seems like they give Edey a lot of calls, even though he's 7'4". Yes, I'm going to be very annoyed, and I'm already kind of trying to preface and prepare everybody here. There's going to be some questionable calls that go in favor of Purdue when it's on Edey, and you're going to be sitting there thinking, there in no world is that a foul. And then there's even going to be times that Edey gets away with stuff, and you're going to be like, how is that not a call? So just trying to prepare for that. But you have to box out, try to get an over to the back call or two on Edey, and just avoid giving up second chance points. They had 14 offensive rebounds in this game against Ohio State, and Ohio State had 7. And that's a huge number. They doubled their offensive rebounds, and they still lost by 4, and they didn't even get 70 points. And you're asking how? Well, it's because Purdue had 14 turnovers. They had 14 turnovers. Zach Edey alone had 6 of them. Braden Smith had 3. He had 3. And for Edey to have 6 turnovers, I think you got to... It seems like there was a lot of double teams being sent his way. A lot of just good hands from the guy running in and batting the ball down, or just playing good defense and tipping it, getting a quick steal, running the other way. If they have double-digit turnovers in this game, that's a really good sign. That's a really good sign. Let me see if I can find how many turnovers they had against Tennessee. Oh, my bad. Edey had 40 against Tennessee, not 41. Whatever. But Tennessee had 7 turnovers. Purdue had 10. And they ended up with, 6-point win, but it was close the entire time. It was a 2 3-point game pretty much the entire game. But that should be the game plan to me. You have to contain Edey at some point. You can't let him get 30 points. You can't let him get his 35 and his 17 rebounds. If you keep him at just this stat line right here, 22 points and 13 rebounds, lower the offensive rebounds though, and just don't make him that big of a factor in the offense. If he catches the ball in the post, either make him put up a tough shot. Don't let him get into that low post. Keep him at the mid to high post area and just make him put up, because he's going to go to that little right-handed jump hook almost every single time. Almost every single time. It's going to be so annoying to watch. But you got to make him just shoot that from a little further out. Make it just a little bit more difficult for him, because more often than not, he's going to get a clean look. I don't know how many guys are going to be blocking a Zach Edey shot unless Mo Diarra or Ben Middlebrooks or DJ Barnes is going to time it perfectly. Maybe Marcel comes from behind and flies in the air. But I'm thinking he's gonna score at some point. Just make it difficult for him. Just make it a challenge. Don't let him just get it right in the low post and then he just goes right up and boom, 2 points. And don't let him just kickstart the offense from that post position either, like how DJ Barnes should in this game and has been, where you get it to him in the post, and if there's nothing there, he'll swing it back out or kick across court or find somebody cutting. Don't let Edey just catch it and then you double him and then he's just holding it and then just waiting until he finds an open man on the 3-point line, because this is a great 3-point shooting team as well. I mean, they can light it up. What were their numbers against Tennessee again? They shot 42, just the right team. Nope. Oh, they shot 20% from 3. So maybe we got to get them to shoot 20% from 3 as well. But I think it was the game against Utah State was when they just started just hitting everything. Edey only had 23 points. I don't even think he played 39. He didn't even play 30 minutes. They shot 11 for 23 from 3 against Utah State. It's 47% from beyond, and they had 106 points. So they can light it up from beyond. We just you got to play good defense all around. You're going to have to double Edey, so that's going to be a challenge. doubling him and then trying to recover and just get the correct rotations whenever someone's open on the perimeter. But you just you can't let Edey beat you. You cannot let Edey beat you. If he has 40 points, it's game over. He has 40 points, it's game over. If he ends with 25 points and we lose, I'll live with that, because at that point, if he has 25 points and we lose, I would assume that is more like, okay, we lost the game that way. They didn't beat us. Our game plan, the defensive game plan worked. Just offensively, we could not get anything going. But as for specifically who to put on Edey, I imagine it's going to be, like I said, they're going to double team him, and I think they're going to throw him each guy, each center, Burns, Middlebrooks, Diarra. I think they're each going to get a turn guarding him. I think Diarra will be the primary defender, and I think he'll do the best job against Edey, just because I think Middlebrooks is a little stronger, Burns is a little stronger, but Diarra's got the length and he's got the wingspan, and he's so athletic that he can just kind of keep up with him and just jump up in the air, get that quick jump if he needs to contest the shot. So I think he'll be the main defender, but because also, I said this in the last episode, you can't have Burns on him in case Edey just starts drawing every foul possible on Diarra or Middlebrooks, or if it was Burns, because then you would have to sit Burns early on, and then you gotta can't really run the offense through. But I think when Burns is on him, I think it'll mostly be just to try to body him and just just be stronger than him, just push him away, get him away from the bucket, and not let him just back down and get to the low post to get an easier look. I think it'll be whenever he's in that mid to high post area, and then Burns is on him and just not letting him gain ground towards the bucket. Middlebrooks can pretty much do both. I just think Burns is the strongest center that we have, and then Diarra is the most athletic and the quickest and the longest, like wingspan and whatnot. Like he's got long arms. I've seen him go for some of these blocks and rip down some of these rebounds. It's almost like the in Space Jam when Jordan goes for the dunk from half court and his arm just kind of keeps on stretching and keeps on stretching and keeps on going, and then he just flushes it for two. It's kind of like that sometimes. I just see his arm like fly up in the air, just grabs a rebound out of nowhere. I'm like, oh my God, where'd you come from? But I do have confidence. I imagine that Morcell is going to be put on Braden Smith, and then DJ Horne is a solid defender. And Michael O'Connell has showed that even if sometimes against Golke he wasn't doing that great, but he's shown that like I always talk about a defense. He tries on defense. He wants to play defense, so he's going to be a solid defender. I'm getting nervous. I'm excited. Don't get me wrong. It's an excited nervous just because I want the game to get here and I just want this run to keep going. I'm already annoyed at the foul calls that Edey is going to get. I know it's going to happen, but and then offensively, I guess I never really got to the offensive game plan, which should be straightforward. We've pretty much run the same thing the entire time outside of the Marquette game where I feel like we used our guards a bit more, but still DJ Burns had 7 assists. Run it through Burns, get him set up in the post, let him swing it around. If he's got a one-on-one matchup, if they're guarding him one-on-one, even if it is Edey, honestly, even if it is Edey on Burns, I'm very confident Burns can still get 2 with a little turnaround left hook or pump fake, get him in, try to bait him into a foul and then go right up, go to the free throw line for 2 more or 1 more if he gets an and 1. But if they single cover him like Duke did, I don't want him passing the ball. I want him shooting the ball every single time. I still cannot believe that Duke went with that game plan on DJ Burns, where it's just like, yeah, we're just going to single cover him and make him beat us, which he did. Maybe John Shire think, oh, this guy can't beat us. He passes the ball too much. He's not going to look to score as much. If you give him single coverage every single time, he's going to score nearly every single time. What do you shoot for that game? 79% from the floor? He had 29 points. I mean, a lot of them were easy. Oh, the left-handed little floaters and turnarounds and hooks are just so perfect. God, I love watching him play basketball. But keep the same strategy offensively. And then even just from the guards' perspective, Michael O'Connell, and especially DJ Horne, there's going to be a time in that first half where DJ Horne has to take some kind of a tough 3 or tough jump shot, layup, whatever, a really contested shot. And if it falls, if it's good, I'll be feeling great. I'll be feeling great. When he can make those contested shots and those tough makes, those tough buckets, it's a good sign. It's a good sign because DJ Horne's had games where he just starts out on an absolute heater. Just straight like 3 for 3 from beyond in a few games, I think, just to start and just buckets everywhere. He can get a quick 10 points. He can get a quick 10 points if he's got the hot hand. Would love to see that, but I would also love to see this would be a perfect game, and the next two games would be a perfect time to test my theory of blowouts are more fun than close games. There's been a lot of close games for the Wolfpack. If they can just destroy Purdue and then destroy whoever they play in the championship, that'll be fun. I'll take a blowout win over a close win if it's a fun game every single time. Every single time. Just those commanding wins are so fun and so satisfying to watch. So I'm going to touch on the men's team a little more at the end just as a quick recap, but try to contain Edey. Don't let him beat you and force some turnovers. Knock the ball away. Just make him annoyed. You can't get into foul trouble. You got to tiptoe that line of try to go for the steal, try to get the turnovers, but don't get into foul troubles. That's going to be a tough one to walk, but if anybody can do it, it's Kevin Keatts and this team. Stick around when we come back. Going to get into the women's team and even some of their matchups and just the women's Final Four because, my God, it's going to be two unbelievable games. So stick with us on Believe in the Wolfpack. All right, welcome back in. Believe in the Wolfpack. Going to get into the women's team and the game plan for them on how to take down South Carolina in this Final Four matchup, which will be this Friday night at 7 p.m. Did they get the... No, that's got to be the first game. Yeah, that's the first game. So first game, NC State, South Carolina on ESPN at 7 o'clock. And then UConn and Iowa is at 9 o'clock. That UConn and Iowa game is going to be crazy. I always forget that UConn has only 7 players eligible right now. So Paige Beckers and Aaliyah Edwards are just doing their best. Just there, get on. We got you guys. Let's just go. Oh man, both those games were incredible. The Iowa LSU game. I mean, Caitlin Clark. Good God. I mean, that was also mean. That was Kim Mulkey. What are we doing? For the love of God, give Van Lith some help. She was getting cooked. Caitlin Clark had 40 points. She was, oh my God, she was on fire from deep. I think she was 50% from 3. It was unbelievable. Then that second game with Juju Watkins and Paige Beckers just going back and forth. Beckers had a crazy, I think she had 28 points and 10 rebounds and like 6 assists. She's unreal too. I mean, she's only a junior too. She's like Aziaha James. Both of them just only juniors. They got one more year. But UConn pulled away in the end. They actually had a 10-point lead in the third quarter. And then USC made a little bit of a comeback. I think they tied it up. That's at one point in the fourth quarter. Maybe even took a lead, but I know they tied it up, and then UConn ended up pulling away. What was the ending final score to that? Did that end up being a 10-point win? I think it was. Oh, 7-point win, 80-73. Yeah, damn. Juju Watkins had 29 points, 10 boards. Paige Beckers, 28 points, 10 boards, 6 assists. Caitlin Clark had 41 points, 7 rebounds, and 12 assists. Good Lord. Angel Reese was great, though. I don't think they used Angel Reese enough in the second half, it felt like to me. First half, she had a huge run. Was it to close the first quarter? Maybe second quarter still? She was on a huge run. I think she had a 6-0 run by herself almost. But she had 17 points, 20 rebounds, and 3 blocks. She ended up fouling out of the game, which was unfortunate. But 17 points and 20 boards, that'll play. That'll do just fine. But back to the game, NC State, South Carolina. Listen, I would love to say this is what you got to do against South Carolina, but I'd be lying because, like I said, nobody has beat them this year. There's no game plan out there for this team on how to beat South Carolina and Dawn Staley. It's I don't know. I don't know. I wish I could tell you. I don't know. Camila Cardoso is great, though. 14 points, 9 boards. That's what I was trying to find. And 2.5 blocks a game. She's incredible. I'm actually looking at the ESPN put out an article. Was it today? Yeah, it was today. Women's March Madness top 25 players left in the Final Four. Caitlin Clark is one, obviously. Paige Beckers is two. Kind of expected that. But number 3, Aziaha James. Aziaha James is number 3. Finally, this NC State team getting some recognition and getting some love. I love to see it after she had just a monster game against Texas. 27 points and then 29 points against Stanford. Need her to be hitting threes. That's the game plan. Is kind of like we've been doing, and like I said for the men's team, where you just got to run your same offense. This the NC State women's team, you got to rely on Aziaha James, you got to rely on Saniya Rivers, and you got to rely on Zoe Brooks off the bench. If Aziaha James is hitting threes and making big shots and getting the other team in foul trouble, be feeling good. If Saniya Rivers is doing everything, be feeling good. If Zoe Brooks can come off the bench and provide that spark and she can get 15 points, same thing. If Aziaha James can get at least 25 points, if Saniya Rivers can get anywhere between 15 to 20 points, if Zoe Brooks can get anywhere between 12 and 17 points, I'll be feeling good. I'll feel pretty good about the outcome of that game if they each have those, respectfully, they have those numbers. I just I don't know, man. It's something. It's one thing to go up against Zach Edey, where it's like, oh, he's the best player in the country. But we've seen them lose. We know that they, are vulnerable. We know that they're human. I haven't seen South Carolina lose. Bit more shook up about this one. But like I said, if our guards, if those 3 main guards, James, Rivers, Brooks, if they show up, if they play their kind of basketball, if they have big games, I'll be feeling good. But Aziaha James, yeah, the 3rd best player left in this tourney, and only a junior. Then you have Aaliyah Edwards as 4th. So UConn has 2 of the 5 best remaining players. Camila Cardoso is number 5. Raven Johnson is number 6 for South Carolina. Kate Martin for Iowa. And then Saniya Rivers, number 8. So NC State, you got 2 of them. Hey, we'll take it. I want to see. I never really got through. They got River Baldwin at 12. That's good. I like seeing that. Zoe Brooks at 16. A freshman. Is there any other freshman? Oh, okay. KK Arnold, the freshman on UConn, is 1 spot above her. Is Arnold the highest or the best top-ranked freshman left? I want to say yes. Juju Watkins would be if she made the Final Four. So no, it is Arnold and Zoe Brooks are the best freshmen remaining. Zoe Brooks is the 16th best player, they're saying. I mean, she's been so good this tournament. I need another big game from her. Madison Hayes, number 22. So we got, and then Mimi Collins rounds it out and is number 12. But it's good to number 25. I don't know what number I just said, but it's good to see Aziaha James is 3rd in these rankings, just right there, because you knew it was going to be Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers. So you're kind of already thinking like, oh, who's number 3? And then Aaliyah Edwards is going to be a top pick in the draft this year. So let me check to make sure I'm not lying, because I thought she was like 5th in the WNBA mock draft. God, I love Tankathon. What was she? Caitlin Clark, Cameron Brink, Ricky Jackson, Camila Cardoso. Aaliyah Edwards, 5th. She's projected to go 5th in the WNBA draft, and Aziaha James is a spot ahead of her. I like to see it. I like to see it. That's huge. And Aziaha James only a junior. But, I mean, she's been on fire. I need her to be on fire from 3, because if we can get South Carolina nervous, if we can get them nervous, if we can be in that game the entire time, if we can hold the lead, even if it's just a 2-3 point lead, if we can hold a 2-3 point lead most of that game, they may be getting nervous. And this isn't like, oh, this is an entirely different team. No, it's just still, we've beaten elite teams. Beat Stanford and Texas just last weekend. Those are 2 very elite teams from this year. It's just South Carolina was the clear 1 of 1 the entire year. And they've had the target on their back the entire year, and they haven't slipped once. Maybe it'll be this weekend. Defensively, you just got to. This may be the game where You may just have to try to outscore them. You just have to have Aziaha James get at least 25 points and just light it up from three. Saniya Rivers needs to get 20 and Zoe Brooks needs to get at least 15 points to where, their offense can't keep up with ours. But their defense is just so good too. It's going to be such a tough game. And like I said, just if the three guards got it going on, if Aziaha James, Saniya Rivers, and Zoe Brooks are playing their A games, playing their best ball, I'll feel good. I'll feel good. I do believe when they're playing their best ball, we're nearly unbeatable. We're nearly unbeatable. Just the nearly part is South Carolina. Like, although UConn has Paige Beckers, technically the second best player left, and Iowa has Caitlin Clark. I mean, there's not much more I need to say about Caitlin Clark. I mean, it's Caitlin Clark. Would I be feeling better if we were playing Iowa and UConn? Yes. Yes. And honestly, I think if anyone's saying otherwise, they're lying to you. Because there's been UConn has struggled at times this year. Nearly lost to USC. And then if you can try to shut down Caitlin Clark, if you can force her to some bad turnovers, there's a good chance you win that game, even if she does have 35 points. If you can get her to 7 or 8 turnovers in that game and limit her playmaking ability, there's a good chance you win that game. But we've seen that before. We know that can happen. We have no idea if the South Carolina team can lose. It's ridiculous. It's just so, I think, I'm so nervous about playing South Carolina because they're undefeated, because just seeing a team undefeated this late into the year is so rare. It almost never happens. LSU last year, they weren't undefeated. I think South Carolina even had a loss last year when they were in the Final Four and then lost in the Final Four. Oh, man. First Final Four since, 98 for the women's team. Let's win this game. And play one of Paige Beckers to Caitlin Clark. Oh, man, it's going to be 7 o'clock this Friday night. I cannot wait. I'm going to be so nervous. I would love to just start out on fire. I would love to come out of the gate and just get a nice 8-0 lead or just hit a few big shots. At the end of the first quarter, we're up by like 7. Not even being greedy. Not even being greedy and saying like 10 or 15. Just 7. Just be up by 7 at the end of the first quarter. That would be incredible, man. All right, so to recap, the men's team against Purdue this Saturday, 6 o'clock. Got to clear the throat for this one. Force bad turnovers for Purdue as a whole, especially Zach Edey, of course. Force him to turn the ball over, tough passes, double team him, strip the ball away whenever he's trying to dribble before he takes it above his head. Once he gets it up here, once he gets it above his head, you can't really do nothing. You're kind of SOL at that point. So try to get the ball before he brings it up and get him into uncomfortable positions. Don't let him get to the block. Don't let him get right next to the rim. Don't let him get to that low post where he can pretty much just go over with that right-handed post hook whenever he wants. Maybe force some baseline. He likes to do a lot of his work in the middle. He likes to do a lot of his work in the paint. Force some baseline. Try to make him make a play over there. Get him in the elbow area. Get him in that mid-high post area. And then obviously just close out on their three-point shooters, because if they got it going on from downtown, it's going to be a long night. Offensively, run the same offense. If they're double teaming DJ Barnes, let him work it around. If they're single covering DJ Barnes, let him go score. If Zach Edey's having success against DJ Barnes, get Zach Edey in some pick and rolls. Make him work. That's another thing. Even if he's playing solid defense, just make him work defensively. Tire him out. Get him, when he gets the ball in the offensive end, say, oh, man, I'm tired. I don't know about this one. And make him kick it out. Make him tired. Make him work for every single bucket, every single rebound as well. Don't let him get easy rebounds. Yeah, there's going to be an occasional deep three. He just puts up, grabs it like it's nothing. But limit the offensive rebounds. He's going to get a few offensive rebounds. Limit those. And even those offensive rebounds that he does pull down, make him work for it. Make him work. Don't let them make threes. Run your offense. Make contested shots. We can get ice cream after the game. Move on to the national championship. Win that. But that's the Final Four. That's Purdue. This is, I mean, I said it against Marquette. This is probably going to be the best thing we played all year. Duke was, again, right up there. But I can confidently say Purdue will be, or so far, this is the best team that we will see all year. Need to play your best basketball. Need to keep that strong defense. The defense is going to be the X factor, just like DJ Burns in the defense, or the DJs and the defense. Just triple D's. Defense, DJ Burns, DJ Horne. Defense, DJ. Just the triple defense, the triple D's. Got to stay strong. As for the women's team, get the guards going. Get Aziaha James open looks. Even if she's got to come off a few screens, even if she has to put up a tougher, even if she puts up a contested 3 or 2 in the first quarter, just to get her, get into a groove, find the shot, I'm fine with it because she has to be on point from beyond. Saniya Rivers, do everything. Look to score a bit more because we're probably going to need a lot of points in this one. Zoe Brooks need to be that spark plug off the bench. I know she's a freshman. I know this is a huge game, a big moment, probably the biggest moment of her basketball career so far. Just like this is probably the biggest moment of all their basketball careers. But as a freshman, especially first year in college and going against South Carolina, this is massive. This is huge. But you got to be that spark plug off the bench. Play with that confidence that you've had all year. Defensively, just limit the points. Make them work for everything as well. No easy buckets. Don't let Cardoso beat you down low and get you into foul trouble. Get whoever it is, Baldwin, Hayes, Collins. Don't let her get them into foul trouble. But offensively, got to get those 3 guards going. James, Rivers, Brooks. Get them going. Let's win a pair of basketball games again. Let's play some good ball. And let's move on to the championship for the men's and women's teams. My God, I cannot wait. Friday night, 7 o'clock, women's team on ESPN. Saturday night, 6:09 p.m. on TBS. Men's team plays Purdue. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Believe in the Wolfpack. Final four wins, good ball, stay focused, stay locked. We'll see you next time. Go Pack.